A fucking CrossFitter gave you the stink eye flipping tires down the street trying to look hard. Buddy, you're softer than a Cinnabon sampler.
Oh yeah, our good old friends Lizzie Boredom from Texas. Nice little punk rock group down there. We love them. Tiara, how are you now?
Good, and you?
Oh, not so bad.
Yay.
It's after Christmas and before New Year's right now.
It's that no man's land where we asked each other what day it was for the last 5 days in a row.
We did.
It's beautiful. Wait, is today's? No, today's Friday. No, it's Saturday. Wait.
It's Sunday.
It's Sunday today.
Sunday. Yeah.
You go back to work tomorrow. I still have another week.
Don't remind me. Just to do a little pre-showy stuff here. We whoops, there goes our camera, but that's not important. We're not recording the video anyway. So anyway, just a reminder to everybody, and we didn't get any for December at all. And I'm guessing holiday season.
So busy.
Yeah.
Honestly, we were so busy. Yeah, I forgot all about it.
Our cosplay contest is always and forever going on. We pick a winner at the end of at the final show of each month, which would be today if we'd had any, but we didn't. But you can
resubmit if you don't win with a submission. All it takes is 2 minutes for you to send a new email for the new month. You can send the exact same picture. We're totally okay with it.
Totally. And I would assume
you guys to interact with us.
I'm sure you probably took more than just the one picture. So don't tug on things and you might end up disconnecting yourself.
Don't put things in front of me that I might have to tug on.
And I'm going to let that sit right there.
Shut up. Oh my God.
Anyway,
I'm going to hit you.
It is beating your dick December. Anyway, we're always looking. Also, we're like you've heard from our friends Lizzie Boredom up top, and you'll hear from Mish at the bottom. We're always looking for good independent unsigned bands who are looking to get a little bit of recognition. We want to shout you out because we appreciate that about you.
And we used to be musicians, so we want to, help the rest of our community, even though we're not involved in it anymore.
Yeah, because there's lots of good independent bands that deserve the recognition. So you can send us an email if you're interested at hosts@howareyounowpod.com, and we will check out your music and get you lined up, because currently we haven't had anybody. I'm guessing also because
December
holidays. Yeah. So, and also just a new thing that we've just added is we got a phone number for voicemails, and you can dial us at 304-50 Berta, and leave us a voicemail. You're such a
dork, and I love you.
I paid extra for the Berta. So yeah, you know, if you have thoughts, theories, questions, trivia, anything like that. I know season 8 just came out. We if you want to send us your thoughts on season 8, spoiler free thoughts so far. We're going to give that, and probably until, because I said 2 weeks hiatus on any spoilers. So that will be after.
Does Australia have the new season yet?
I would assume so.
Because they were about a week after the U.S. last time, right?
I think they were the same time as the U.S.
Okay, I'll double check that while we're
talking. But anyway, leave us a spoiler-free interview. If you have to do a spoiler review, that's fine. We'll just play it after.
If you have a question or something that you want to ask about season 7 or season 8, at the very end of the podcast, we'll address those things.
Yeah, or we may wait a little bit on season 8. But 7 is, anyway, and we are also, our growth has finally taken us over, growth since we moved to Transistor has taken us over for 40,000 downloads now.
And that was actually like a week ago.
We were on the cusp of it. As we were finishing our season 5 recap. And also we're working on 2 interviews right now. We've got confirmations from the two people that say they're in. One is going to check with the production crew. Do you want to say names at all?
No, but I'm just doing a happy dance over here because I'm so excited.
I will say one is a cast member, one is a crew member.
Yes.
So we'll put it that way. Anyway, and like I said, music for this week, Lizzie Bordom and Mish. And then now we're going to we have a new guest this week, somebody we've never had on before. And we would like to introduce you to Will Gainsborough. Will, how are you now?
Good, and you?
Oh, not so bad.
Yes.
So
nailed it. Nailed
it.
I swear that's everybody's biggest fear when they come on here. They're like, okay. Oh God, damn it!
It's because usually they're the ones saying, "How are you now?"
Yeah.
So, how are you now? Yeah.
So, Will, tell us about yourself.
Well, let's see here. I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with my beautiful wife and our 3 obese cats. I've been kind of involved in the podcast industry here and there for about 14, 15 years or so.
Nice.
And I produce podcasts for other people. So I have a network called Coffee Finch Studios, and on that network, you can find a show called Listen to the Words, where Evelyn Price and Mr. Steve listen to songs and break down the lyrics. And it's fascinating and hilarious. And I put in sound drops because I just can't help myself.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll also find Sawtooth Willie, which is a character that I do. And Sawtooth lives underneath the city of Pittsburgh and feeds on pigeons and tells enjoyable life stories. So,
Sawtooth Willie.
Sawtooth, you got to get down here and just register underneath Pittsburgh.
I see how you are in there.
Yeah, exactly. It's good.
So well, tell us your Letterkenny origin story.
Well, so it started. I knew about Letterkenny before I knew about Letterkenny. I have a weekly Dungeons and Dragons group because I'm that kind of nerd.
Yep.
And
one of us.
Yeah. And my friend Corey, who was actually the best man at my wedding this year, anytime anybody would say "to be fair," he would chime in, "To be fair." And I would look at him and be like, "Why do you keep doing that? I don't get it." And he would not explain it.
He didn't just say "figure it out."
He didn't. Oh man, he should have.
That's a Letterkenny fail.
Right?
That's right. But
half.
Okay.
There's a gentleman I follow on Instagram named Kenneth Gott. He's a professional wrestler. His wrestling name is Diamond Duke Swellington, and he is just delightful. Anyway, he posted a few Letterkenny memes, and I was like, okay, all right, I've heard enough about this show. I'm going to watch it. And I watched the first episode, and really just the first scene where they're chirping at the hockey players. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to watch this show for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's the plan. And unfortunately, we've also found The Expanse now.
Oh yeah,
which
Letterkenny actors keep popping up on it every season. They're
What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Tannis was in season 2.
She was in season 1.
Season 1.
Yeah.
And then you've got Marianne and Betty Ann were both in season 3 and season 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That same friend Corey, who I play D&D with, has told me for ages I should watch The Expanse.
Oh, it's so good.
And I bounced off of it a couple of times, but I think you guys just sold me on it.
Yeah, we literally started binging it on like a Friday night, and like it was the weekend that it came out, like last weekend or whatever it was, that season 4 came out, and we watched the entire thing in the 3 days that we had together.
Yeah, it's really good. The character Amos in there is very much like Wayne.
Interesting.
The Expanse is a bit more dark. There is much more violence.
It's like Firefly if they had been a little more serious and a little less comedy.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. But I mean, hey, that sounds like my exact brand.
Yeah. I think the first half of the first season, it's
there's a little slow to get into.
Well, it's because there are different stories all over the galaxy.
Yeah.
I know all over the solar system. because that's where it all
Okay.
takes place. And you've got the inners, the earth. I mean, I shouldn't probably be talking about this but on a Letterkenny
It's like,
podcast.
yeah, this is,
But
you
so
know.
it's all over the place until it brings it all together.
Yeah.
So there's a little, it does take a little time to get into, but once you get into it, you're like, holy fuck, this is great.
And as I've said many times, when we start a new show, it's really hard for me to get past like the third episode if I'm not already into it. And so luckily this one, Dean was like, no, we're going to keep watching. Because like episode, I think like 5 or 6 in that first season was like, okay, I'm in now.
You get like, oh.
I get it now. Okay.
Yeah,
I
there's
see.
that click moment
Yep.
where it's like, oh, okay.
It's kind of like if you were a fan of Buffy. Buffy, the first season was,
Yeah.
first part of the first season was rough. Same thing with Supernatural.
Supernatural was about season 3 before I really got into it.
not for me. But anyway, let's talk about Letterkenny.
Letterkenny.
So, as I stated before, and also,
How'd you find us?
Yeah, how'd you find us?
Yes, that was so when I first started watching Letterkenny, I had like Kenneth. By the way, he's at Senator KG. I want to give him a quick plug because, as I said, he is delightful. I know that he watched it, but he lives in Oklahoma. And I know that Corey watched it, but I only see him about once a week. So I was searching for my people. I was looking for more people who were into Letterkenny. And I found the Reddit and spent a day looking around the Reddit. And you guys had posted saying, hey, we have a Letterkenny podcast if anybody wants to come on.
Yeah.
And I thought, Letterkenny and podcast. They are talking to me.
That's my jam.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So do you have anything else to plug?
Oh, you can find all of those podcasts anywhere fine podcasts are sold. That includes LTTW and Sawtooth Willie. We did take a rather lengthy hiatus there because I did get married and move and start a new job and a bunch of stuff all at once.
What, you didn't podcast while your life was crazy?
You know, so when we got engaged, we came up with an idea to do a wedding podcast, talking about our experiences and looking for vendors and interviewing like our wedding party and our parents. And it would have been super good if there was infinite time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So-
There's always little things you don't expect when it comes to planning things like a wedding. So
Yeah.
So much minutia.
yeah.
Yeah.
If I could do it all over again, we'd run away and just like go to Vegas or something. Now you don't like Vegas. We'd go like Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds lovely.
Hit Sun Studios. And,
Yeah.
oh yeah. All the history there. That's
I knew you'd get off on that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have been to Graceland about 3 times now. So
Interesting.
So one other thing, like I said before, season 8 was just released.
Yes.
So
Yes.
So some people have binged it and watched it multiple times already, and
Yes.
some people are watching it one at a time so that they don't have to like run out so quick. And
Yeah.
totally
God
get
bless
it.
those people. I watched it in a day. It was.
Yeah.
I took it down immediately.
Yeah. We watched. Well, it was.
We watched the first couple episodes the night that it
it was
really late.
because we're in we're Pacific time zone, so they released it at 9 p.m. our time, since
Yeah.
that was midnight.
Nice.
So we watched a few of them,
Yeah,
and then
we
we
watched
woke up
4
and
of
watched
them.
some more.
We watched 4 of them, and then we watched the rest the next day. And so I will, my spoiler free review. It's great. Definitely better than season 7.
Yes, that right there
I know a
is
lot
very
of
much.
folks didn't enjoy that one. I think just because it was so,
Well,
it was
no
very
spoilers for 7.
I would just say it was
Yeah.
emotional.
Yes.
It was an emotional season, it was not as much funny as we'll say 8 is,
Mhm.
as many seasons are, and 8 really harkens back to the early shows,
Yeah.
season 1 and 2, I think.
I agree.
So really good. Make sure you watch it, because not too far from now we'll be reviewing it.
Yeah, I mean, this is season 6, episode 1, because
Yep.
we have almost caught up with the show.
Getting
If
there.
they hadn't put out 2 seasons this year,
Yeah.
we probably would have like caught up by
Yeah.
like a couple weeks.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, just real quick, we our last show was our season 5 recap. We want to give thanks to the bands Brute Force and James Honeycutt, our good buddy. And it's just a complete recap of season 5 and what everybody thought was their favorite quotes and clips and all that stuff. We had a lot of fun. It was our second time without having an interview and a recap because the first time we didn't have
first time it was like, oh my God, we have an interview. Let's slap it on the end of this. And then the second one was, now we're going to plan for it. Now we really get to plan for it.
We had seasons 1 and 2 was one recap show.
Yes.
We didn't have an interview for that. Season 3, which we had Tyler Johnston, and season 4 was when we had Patrick McNeil.
Yes.
So Connor. So now we finished that up, and now we're going to get into season 6, episode 1, our deep dive of what could be so urgent. We start off with the open. What I played at the top was a clip from that. It goes from, it's pretty much got all the Hicks in it. Plus it's got Rolled and Glenn and Riley and Jonesy, kind of harkening back to the old school of, one person will take this piece and the next person. And so it's just really little funny chirps, I guess, in a way between all of them. Not really a thread in the story so much as in the open. It's just funny.
But Rolled rapping.
Rolls rapping.
Oh man, I have such. I want to start by derailing the show, and I apologize. I love Evan Stern so much as Rolled. Rolled is delightful. He's been there since the beginning.
Yep.
And he's grown into this character. I love him. I think he's fantastic. And when he's rapping, he says, "Got the streets a bubbling," and gets me every time.
Yep. Yeah. Rolled is probably one of my favorite.
Absolutely.
Recurring.
The way that the character that at the beginning was probably such a, kind of minor thing has grown into such a well-rounded character is one of my favorite things about this show.
Yep. And him and Stuart together are just the perfect odd couple.
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Him without Stuart, it's a totally different person. And him, which is exactly what I would imagine in my own personal canon of that home
Your
life.
head canon?
My head canon. Thank you.
Which season was it where I don't think, never mind. I don't think you guys have covered it yet.
Okay.
So never mind.
So from the
No spoilers.
So from the open, we cut to this gas station in Quebec. Wayne is filling up his truck when there's a couple of Quebecian DJs, local DJs. Quebecois.
I said it right.
Quebecois. They're hanging out in front of the station. Another one pulls up in his truck, goes around to the back of Wayne's truck and leaves a little Sharpie marker over Ontario on his license plate. And of course, Wayne has to go in and square things away. You see he's knocked 2 of them out and left the one that left the marks just barely hanging in there. And he walks off. Then we cut to the Fleur de Lis Motel in Quebec, where Wayne and Mary Fred are in the restaurant, and Wayne starts recounting the story of the guy on his iPad while rocking the piss in the airport bathroom. They end up giving him the name of Gary because they just couldn't call him the guy. And they try to guess, as explained before, what could be so urgent. And then they're trying to guess, this waitress comes up to take their order, and she's making fun of Wayne's accent, and he says she was being a bit of a cow. And so they chat a bit more about Gary, and Marie Fred asks,
what's he putting into the iPad is what I want to know.
Will help?
Will help.
Want to know what he's putting in the iPad? I can tell you what he's putting in the iPad. Here's what he's putting in the iPad. The codes.
The codes?
Those codes.
That's the thing that could be so urgent.
That's the one thing that could be so urgent.
What a goof.
To be at the airport, at the urinal, with your iPad, your dick out.
Silly.
This nutsack is one in a chain of commanding political figures with access to the codes to greenlight a nuclear strike.
That's who he is.
And he had to get his portion of the codes in immediately so that the warheads could take flight.
Why is he firing a warhead?
Well, someone would have had to fire a warhead first, right? You know, if I'm that dude at the airport, my dick out working on my iPad, I mean, the whole fucking world's at stake.
There's multiple warheads?
Both sides would have to have warheads in the air, or projectiles if it's nuclear war, yes.
Those are some stakes.
What else could be so urgent?
Not much else could be so urgent.
So they're having this conversation, and then her brother Jean-Claude and other cousin Jean-Lance come in. They also make fun of Wayne's accent, and then the waitress walks by again, making fun of laughing.
All of them,
Yeah. So everybody's laughing. Wayne tells Jean-Claude, he goes, to go sit down and drink his beer, and Jean-Claude says, "What if I don't?" And Wayne says, "Well, I'm gonna have to put my beer down." So,
and then Marie Fred gives him a look.
Yeah, she likes that. We cut to the farm. This slow motion, and Derry's walking in the back porch and
taking a drag, and then exhaling for 5 minutes.
Right, and then walking up in a bikini is Anik, and she's going through the sprinklers.
Oh no, that's later too.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's later. That's okay. It's okay.
Seriously.
And so she's getting her hair is just all wet, and she walks up to him and starts to plant a kiss on him, and then Dan has to we do have a quick cut to Derry dreaming on the couch when Dan wakes him up to say
he's got a semi. Yeah, don't lay down for a nap on the couch without a pillow for your lap. Probably didn't want me walking in here seeing you all half torqued like that.
Nope.
Yeah, it's probably no fun for the dog to have to climb over your thixies just to give you a kiss in the face. All right. Come on, girl. Why don't we go? Let's leave the half-blood prince to his little sleeps.
Man. Climb over your thixies.
Good nap?
Great nap.
Nap with me?
Well, I just kind of had a nap.
Then we don't need to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm in it to win it. So then
I find that so funny. The dog had to climb over, because that's like literally what happened this morning in our bed.
Over your thixies. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, we cut to the gym. Speaking of thixies, we got Riley and Jonesy, and Dax and Ron are scoping out all the bodies at the gym who are home for the summer from university. All of them are talking about their takedowns that they plan to make during the summer, and Dax and Ron want to make it interesting by making a bet for a case of beer on the total number of takedowns between the two of them.
The total takedown tally.
Yeah, the total takedown tally. And so, they, I mean, that's really just, there's a lot of fluff in that scene, but then they all hands on and they're in. Then we cut to Modine's. Wayne and Mary Fred are there at the bar. So like they were at the Fleur de Lis. Bonnie comes up to take their order. And of course, she makes fun of Marie Fred's accent.
Here you go.
Wayne chastises Bonnie. Bonnie leaves, and Marie Fred says she was being a bit of a cow, wasn't she?
Throwback.
Yeah, throwback to the Fleur de Lis. And so as she walks away, they're talking about the hostility between the English and French and how that's gone on. And then there's more chat about Gary in the bathroom. They said he was already in the bathroom when the call came in. Then Bonnie comes back with their drinks, again, makes fun of Marie Fred's accent. Marie Fred tells Bonnie to go sit down and drink your wine. Bonnie says, "What if I don't?" Marie Fred, in her mocking of her mocked French accent, says, "Didn't I have to put my wine down?"
And Wayne looks
smiles.
at her.
Yeah. So then we cut to the produce stand, and their start of talk about the bush party season from Katie, and needing to have some drinks, and then Katie says,
I'm gonna go make some Caesars with the girls and get geared up for a gooder.
Ooh, I'd have a Caesar.
You can't really see a Caesar and not want a Caesar.
That's actually how they market Caesars.
Remind me, what is a Caesar again?
It's basically a Bloody Mary with Clamato instead of.
Okay.
I was gonna ask the same question.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah. I've never had one, but I've seen them made.
Clamato just sounds terrible to me. I can't even imagine.
I'd try
drinking
it. I'd try it. I'd give it a shot.
Clam tomato? No. Hard no.
Clam juice.
Yeah, hard no.
Oh, that doesn't improve it.
Right?
Then it's juice.
Maybe you put a lobster claw in there as well.
Don't make lobster, so
Oh no.
your surf and turf is not working on me.
Maybe a piece of steak.
Yeah, I'll eat the steak.
All right, surf.
No,
Yeah, it'd be
no.
surf and turf, right?
I'll have the turf. You have the surf.
All right. So then Derry slides over to Wayne to have a private discussion, and he says,
You ever thrown so much hip in your life?
Between us girls?
Yeah, between us girls.
I never thrown so much hip in my life.
How much hip are we talking?
Talking like I'll be halfway through a bowl of cereal and.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
"Oh yeah."
Same for you.
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
Between us girls?
Of course, between us girls.
Feel like we met. I punched in. I've been punched out.
Ask you something.
Of course, good buddy.
You feel like you're getting any better at it?
Feel like I'm getting a lot better at it.
Me too. Like I kind of feel like I was a bit of a novice with the whole thing before.
Feel that way too. Feel like with some of the gals that I've done some yesing with in the past, they might have thought this guy's a dabbler.
Derry, that's exactly how I feel. Like I feel like they might have seen me as a hopeful, at the very least. But like maybe I was just apprenticing at the time.
Kind of feel like I might be a bit of a headliner now.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What are we talking, like large theaters or stadiums?
Well, large theaters for the time being.
But like if you keep going at the rate you're going, you'll be destined for like bigger venues. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel. That's how I feel too.
I just love how they never actually talk about exactly what it is that they want to talk about. It's always all these innuendo and like puns and throw so much hip.
There's a lot of terms. There's a lot of terms for having sex.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think doing some yessing is my
Doing
favorite.
some yesing, seriously.
Yes.
That's good stuff.
Oh, I think that one's my favorite though. Like that came back from that was another episode where they were.
That was in season
that was
1 or
early.
2.
Yeah, that was early.
Mhm.
So anyway, then at that point, Anik yells out to them, asks them if they want a Caesar. They do. Then
We don't have a Caesar.
that's how they market them. Derry asked if Stuart will be DJing the party, and Wayne says he hasn't seen Stuart in a while. Wonders where he's gotten off to. We have a quick cut at that point into a club, and where all the servers are wearing lingerie, and one of them is kind of in slow motion as well. Turns around and is bringing this bottle to the back of the club where Gay is, and we see Gay all in black and really kind
Looking
of
all cute and shit.
cute and sexy, and yeah, all that good shit. Gay then takes the bottle, takes a drink out of the bottle, and she puts it down. Then does a quick drug deal with the fella below where she's standing. And then she turns around and walks off between two fellas that have their backs to us, and they turn around individually, and you see Stuart with short hair.
Looking like a supermodel.
Yeah, posing and everything. And then rolled.
Looking like
He looked like he always does. And they're posing together, drinking, Rold's drinking his drink.
Drinking with his little straw. Like, that's me in a club where I'm just holding my drink close and like looking at everybody. That's so me.
And then that's the end. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So then, yeah,
Like, this is that every season they have that episode that has to describe all of the things that are basically going to happen in that season.
right.
Like, sometimes it's in the middle of a season because they had to wrap up something from last season, but there's always an episode that's like just a bunch of stuff that doesn't really seem to go together, but
True.
you know it's going to carry on throughout the whole season. So I like episodes like that
Yeah.
because you see, you get to guess where they're going with
Yeah.
all these things.
This is a very story-driven type of episode. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of quotable things up at the open.
Mhm.
But individually, I mean, you know, aside from the quotes that I pulled out, it's really quotes that are about the story that's driving through. And we're talking about our new girlfriends and a reference to Bush Party season, which will be the next episode.
Right.
And
I like how different Wayne and Marie Fred are from Wayne and Rosie. Like with Wayne and Rosie, it was kind of slow and calm and quiet, and they would read together and they would talk, and it was never like with Marie Fred and Wayne, it's almost like, oh, they've got a little bit more spark. They like to have these like wild, crazy conversations that might go anywhere, and they're enjoying this. And like I try to show that they're very different.
Right. I think Marie Fred feels like she's part of the group. She fits in.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I feel like she has great timing and good good chemistry with pretty much everybody.
And the other thing that I like about her is that she seems like a mature woman.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I get, like she's one that could settle down. No spoilers, but yeah, it's it's just that the feeling that I get from her is that she is someone who doesn't feel like a Bonnie or a Katie.
Right.
Those who are, I'm going to go out and party, and
Anik, which is about sex and sex appeal.
Yeah. I mean, even Anik is a little bit more, I think probably she's Anik being more world aware. She's traveled, done, photos and all that.
Instagram model.
Yeah. So
no offense to our Instagram model friends, but
that's
it's a thing.
I think that's where lots of people gets found. So
these days, yeah.
So
that's true, yeah.
So I don't blame anyone for going that route. But anyway, that's my thought on it. And it's just, I don't know if the maturity level of women in Quebec is different,
or if they're trying to make it seem that way.
Could be,
because in later episodes, no spoilers, there is a common thing between the Quebec women as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So. Very true.
Common storyline.
So what other thoughts, theories, trivia, observations, etc. Do you have, Will?
Well, let me take a look at my notes here. Oh no, that's the opening. So let's see here. I really enjoyed the cold open. I feel like it really did harken back to their roots, which was the YouTube shorts, just talking about stuff that happens. I really like that.
Yeah.
Already mentioned Rolled.
Yes.
Delightful. Love him.
You can't have enough Rolled.
Oh my God.
Right. Yeah.
If they ever do a spinoff, I really
skid
hope
spinoff?
that it's yeah.
I can see a skid
with or without Stewart. Honestly, like I love Tyler Johnston, but fuck, I love the rest of the skids are so expressive without having to use words. It's so amazing.
Oh yeah, I love watching the background guys.
Yeah, Connor and Darian are great. I think at some point they're gonna have to say something.
Yeah. That'll be like the very last episode ever of Letterkenny. They'll be like, "Hey, what's up? What's going on?"
we were here the whole time.
Yes, and same thing with the Res. You could have Tanis and her nephews.
Big Tanis Energy.
Yep.
Copywriting the name of that new series. Big Tanis
so
Energy.
Good. That's a T-shirt.
Yep.
Guys, that's your
Oh
T-shirt.
yeah, we've already talked.
there.
We've talked about that. Dean almost turned it into a tattoo yesterday, but
Oh man. Oh wow. Okay. I love the also in the cold open they're talking to I'm gonna say it's Jonesy. I kind of like not knowing which is which for sure. But Jonesy says A, B, C, always be lifting.
yes. that is Jonesy.
It's so earnest.
A, B, C.
It was the same thing in the gym when the other three guys came up with something clever, and Jonesy's like, "I'm gonna sleep with girls."
Yeah.
Oh man.
I guess Riley was borrowing the brain cell at that point in time.
So.
Oh, they do share a brain. That's sweet.
If they only had their own brain. That's why I always list them as one person.
Yeah.
Whenever
right, yeah.
Except when they had broken up with and they were trying to be separate people.
Yep.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yep.
I'll be your buddy.
I'll be your buddy. I'll be your
What are you
pal.
even doing
Well, your pal.
Yeah. What are you doing here? Anyway, I'll get to that.
I love Tax and Run too.
Me too. So the fight scene. So
Yes.
here's a thing I love this about Letterkenny is that this could be a much, how do I put this? They put so much effort and care into the show beyond the writing. And I think this fight scene is a good indicator of that. It's very slow. It's all music. It's a song called Gangsta by Tune Yards, which is one of my favorite songs. And they let it breathe. They really let things happen, and it moves slowly, but it's what's the word I'm looking for? I'll say artistic. It's a very artistic choice, and I love that about this show.
Well, it's the thing about this particular fight scene is it's Hitchcock like. You don't see the fight.
You just see the end.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
And I have a question about that scene too. Like, I want to know, because I don't have family in Ontario or Quebec. Do they really like do little petty shit like that and like fight with each other?
I know,
because crossing out Ontario on a license plate doesn't seem like a fightable offense to me. But
well, you mark on my fucking truck, I'm gonna beat your ass.
That's a different mindset than where I was going. Like he crossed out Ontario in particular because he's a Westerner, not a Quebecois. Yeah. So. I don't know. I was just curious. That was something that every time I've seen that episode, every time I watched it, I'm like, what is that? Why does that matter so much? And even looked it up, I can't find anything.
Well, I think it all stems back from, I mean, it's the separation of Quebec from the rest of, because they've been
fighting. They've been separatists for decades.
I mean, especially when they tried to split off into their own country 20 plus years ago now.
They've actually tried a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not gone away. The
right.
That whole, you're number one. I don't think Quebec could live without the rest of the provinces and vice versa. I think there's things that
that's what most of the other provinces say.
Yeah,
it's like Texas. When Texas wants to secede, and we're like, go for it, but you won't be able to afford to do it.
Yeah,
which is absolutely true because they are a welfare
and you're not.
state.
Yeah, you're not going to have your own military.
Nope.
I mean, you're not going to have any U.S. military.
You have the Texas Rangers. That's what you got.
Yeah. Well, they'll have their National Guard folks. So they got plenty of guns.
True story.
They just won't have any big ammo. Like,
I mean, we don't know that.
Yeah, it's hard to hide. It's hard to hide an M1 tank.
Probably. I would assume so.
Especially enough that would be able to go out and fight. If you're got a company full of M1 tanks, somebody's noticed it.
I mean, there's some pretty remote areas in Texas. They might have
I know.
fields of tanks. I know you grew up out there. I know.
That's where they grow the tanks. This is the field in which I grow my tanks.
I've heard this thing about Texas. I hear that it's big. Have you guys heard this?
It's pretty
not
big.
the biggest state though.
It's not the
Pretty
biggest state.
large,
but it's the biggest continental.
Continuous
It's big of the continuous U.S. states.
I mean, if I was gonna hide a tank, and I could pick any state, it probably would be Texas.
I don't know. I might pick like Wyoming or like somewhere really like there's nothing.
Alaska.
Yeah.
I just want to live in Alaska. Like I'm totally okay with only getting sunlight very little bit and like never having to worry about 100-degree days. That sounds good to me.
So I don't want to derail it, but me too. 100% would love to live in Alaska. That sounds quite nice.
Yes, it does. But you got to deal with what's her name up there that she can see Russia from her back porch.
What's her name up there probably doesn't live up there anymore.
Probably not.
That's where she stores her tanks.
Yeah, exactly. The ones that she buys from Russia because she can see them from her backyard.
Yeah.
Right. She gets a discount.
She'll get it tax free.
Oh God.
Anyway, are we done with thoughts there? What do you got?
I'm sorry, I just have a couple more.
No worries.
So,
I'm just trying to make him not rush. That's all.
I'm trying to keep us on the track.
Of course.
That's all.
Oh, I totally understand.
He has to do this every day in every way with me. I am a tangent follower, so that's why I'm like, just it's okay. We can tangent right now.
I've never sat down to record a podcast that if we'll do like half an hour, 45 minutes, and then it's 2 hours later, and I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna edit this, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, because I do edit this one. I don't edit Podscure so much, where we have actually had a 3-hour episode.
Yeah,
so.
that's right.
Yeah. I think there's room in the world for both.
Oh, yeah.
Like some people want a half hour, some people want a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
because I've seen on the I don't know if you're on any of the podcast groups out on the Facebook where they and you'll have newbies come in all the time. And how long should a podcast be? And then you'll hear a lot of the old timey stodgy guys who've been around for 20 years doing it in some way, shape, or form. They'll say, it shouldn't be any more than 30 to 45 minutes. And then, you get those people.
So if you have commercials, it's only an hour. It can't go over an hour.
Yeah. But most of the people who are, say within the last 3 years since the big upsurge,
the new boom.
Yeah. Are like, it's as long as you need it to be. So,
yeah. I mean, even us, we sometimes have episodes that last just about an hour perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have episodes that, like, not counting the ones where we're adding on extra stuff. Like, we've had episodes that go almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I think our longest one was our season 4 recap with Tyler.
Right.
So,
of course.
Because that was like 2 shows together, basically.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, speaking of Letterkenny,
yes. I think I've heard of that.
Is that a place in Ireland?
Okay. Ireland. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Okay, so I want to burn through these last few pretty quick here.
Sure.
So the Dairy Dream sequence, I love that Squirrely Dan was apparently just watching him sleep.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yep.
The gym scene, I do love the interaction between Jonesy and Riley and Daxie and Ronzi, because like it's something. This show is very inclusive without being too on the nose about it. And I love that these two like meathead hockey players who just love having sex with girls are friends with these two gay guys who just love having sex with everybody. And they get on so well. It warms my heart.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Also at one point, Ronzi says, "So fucking cool," and he just barrels the camera.
When he gets so dry, when he fucking.
That's right.
I love those guys.
I swear to God. Yeah.
Swear to God. Cute story about him. And my brain's not coming up with his James Patrick Daly. That's his name. That plays Ronzi. There was somebody had ordered from Dennis Guggen, who makes custom pop vinyls and has done the entire Letterkenny set.
Oh no!
You don't know. He's one of our patrons. Look on our site. Absolutely.
Dennis,
he's awesome. He did pops for us.
He made us custom pops as well. But he made so somebody had requested Dax and Ron from We Don't Fight at Weddings. So where they're in their tuxes. And so when he posted about that, I posted about it on Twitter, and James Patrick Daly saw it. He was like, "Oh my God, that's amazing!" And then James's mom saw them and ordered them.
I didn't know that part.
It was adorable.
Oh, that's so
that's the thing. I love the Canadian actors. I mean, it's funny. One of the things you find about the Canadian actors on IMDb is there's not a lot of information. I think that they don't think about it as much as the Hollywood people do, whereas or they have producer folks or their handlers that go out on IMDb and put all that crap in there, because there's often not a lot that you can find about somebody unless they've come down to the States and done some stuff where they actually have their manager type people that go in and do that for them.
That's a cultural thing right there.
Yeah.
They don't have that culture of celebrity up in as much anyway up in Canada as we stupidly do here in the US.
Yeah, because usually like Tyler Johnston, I could find out stuff about him.
Right, but he's been in a million things at this point.
Right, and
a lot of them US shows.
Yeah, exactly. So, I've known him since
Supernatural
season 1. So, it's just and those guys, I found out, he was in a high school production of Footloose, and we talked about that. So those types of things you don't see with a lot of the Canadian actors, and I think that a lot of us are interested in who they are as people, why they, how they got into those types of things. So, and finding out, because these wonderful Canadian actors who don't really. I mean, I know they take their craft seriously, but they don't take fame seriously.
Right, yeah.
And they have these families who are just all part of the process, and they go out and buy these custom pop vinyls of their kids and stuff, and I think that's so cool and sweet, and it makes me adore these people even more.
I totally agree with you. I love. This is kind of a strange thing to say, but I love Canadian TV shows.
Yeah.
Yes. No, not strange to me at all.
They're like Letterkenny. They're huge. At least now in the States. Like I know they're just gaining a lot of momentum in the States, but like they're just super chill guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're not like, oh, my art, I can't do anymore. They're just like, no, we get together and we have fun, and this is great. So
yeah,
I like that. I like that vibe.
Very true.
Okay. Let's see here. At one point, Wayne is very concerned when they're having a conversation about the missiles. And it's when Marie Fred's like, you want to take about 20% off there?
Yes.
But he's just so genuine.
Yeah, he's so ramped up about it. Just dial it down. Yeah. I could dial it down.
Yet another autistic thing. Like he's in a spiral. Like he's so hyper focused on this idea and really like getting into it. And like I do that too when I talk about special interests of mine. And sometimes, have to have somebody there like looking at me like, okay.
Right.
Like I'm taking.
Now, going back to that real quick, because that's one of the questions that I did have that came up quite a bit on Twitter for this episode was, what do you really think Gary was doing?
That is an excellent question.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, a little. Like, I love that at no point did it cross their mind that Gary was a piece of shit who was using his iPad at the urinal. Like, that's unfathomable. There has to be a reason for it.
Right.
So, in keeping with that spirit, I think that Gary was about to catch a flight, had to rock a piss, but also had to let someone know about his timing. And he's got to be like an older guy who doesn't use his phone for stuff, takes pictures with his iPad. Yeah. So I think that was it.
Yeah. So because otherwise he'd forget about it.
That would be my dad. Yeah, I have to admit, like I can't really I can't imagine sitting, or sorry, I don't. A urinal, you don't sit. I can't imagine standing and peeing. So therefore, like the whole idea of standing, peeing, holding the iPad, like when I'm sitting on the toilet, I don't have to like aim.
Have you not seen the full Monty?
I have.
There is a scene in there where
yes.
Oh no!
And she made it into the urinal.
Yes, I am not that talented.
Okay, this is probably gross, but I really enjoy going camping and looking at the weird stuff that you can buy for camping, and you can buy something called a shiwi.
Yes, yes, I've absolutely seen those.
It's like a piss adapter, and that's not a sentence I thought I was going to say on the show. Jesus.
Well, it's funny. They have that one that's kind of designed for camping and people with disabilities, but they also have similar ones for trans people now, where you can have that like. It's almost like a catheter kind of situation, but it's the same kind of concept where you're able to pee standing up.
All right, then.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, that's that's just Letterkenny making us think about nice things.
Right.
Giving us faith in humanity.
Because I honestly believe that if the dude was putting in numbers for the code, then we'd all be fucked because
yeah. Well, they did talk about there's bombs flying already.
Right.
So.
If he has to put in the codes because the bombs are already flying, like they don't like the bombs aren't designed to fly into each other. So if the bombs are flying, it wouldn't just be that we didn't hear about it because they're covering it up. Like there's probably an entire part of the U.S. that's destroyed at this point.
Well, hang on. Maybe it's this. Maybe the bombs were let loose and they needed 4 of them to deactivate the bombs while they were in flight.
Okay, all right.
They were aborting the mission. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what there you go. Aborting the mission makes more sense.
Making them fall into the ocean instead of hitting land.
You're right. Yeah. So
I agree,
because that would be more urgent.
Absolutely. The bomb's already in the air. It's like, fuck it. I can finish peeing and the result is going to be the same.
Right. I'm going to piss myself. I'll piss myself. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. No, if the bombs are dropping, I mean, that's the last thing I'm worried about.
Right?
Probably collecting cats, honestly.
AsTheCatDie.com.
All right. So
is that wait. This is important. Is that a website?
No, DoesTheDogDie.com is the
I know
actual
that
website.
one is because I go there a lot, but is there a cat version?
Well, they do. They cover all animals.
Yeah, they cover every animal. Basically, every trigger that you can think of, they at least try to warn people. So I look at that website for everything.
I mean, they'll even tell you when it doesn't. You know, if you're thinking and it's about to happen, it'll say there was a dog, but there was
like that was something that we were reading recently. Yes, there is a dog. The dog disappears, and you think the dog dies. However, it's like okay, I can watch this. Then.
Or the dog does die, but off screen.
Yes.
Yeah, because here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you, I've never finished Homeward Bound. Never.
Right.
I've never seen it
because I watched it and then the one older dog falls in a pit and I turned it off and I ejected the tape and I was like, no, I'm done with this. I can't anymore.
Have you read the book The Art of Racing in the Rain?
Yes. Oh my God.
I still haven't read the last chapter.
Oh, no.
I still have not read the last chapter and I got that book like when it came out.
Yeah, go ahead and brace yourself for a good cry on that one.
I can't.
Boy.
It's been like 10 years. I still can't.
I made the mistake of reading it at work and everyone thought I was having a breakdown. I'm like, no, it's a book and there's a dog. So,
all right.
Okay, so I have one last thought to share.
One last thing. All right.
One last thing. And it is during that second conversation at Modine's 3, where Wayne smiles at Marie Fred, right? Mm-hmm. It's a rare thing that Wayne does that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when Wayne smiles, it's like when Paul Hollywood gives handshakes on the Great British Bake Off. It's very rare, but it's always incredibly significant.
Mm-hmm. And he's
smiled
at Marie Fred like 2 or 3 times now.
When Rosie, when he first met Rosie,
first met her, yeah.
Because she did the "How are you now?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
the show has a warmth, mm-hmm. and I feel like it promotes masculinity in a way that isn't toxic.
Yes.
Yeah,
and it walks that line so well. That's one of the things I love.
It's not that they shy away from the toxic masculinity.
They let it happen and they call it out. Yeah, like McMurray when he starts talking about stuff and they're like, "We're really uncomfortable. We'd really like you to stop now." Like that's real life right there.
And it works because McMurray's a piece of shit.
Right.
That's right.
Even when he's not trying to be a piece of shit, he's a bit of a shit.
We'll give him a golfer's clap.
Yeah.
All right. You have anything, T?
I do. I have just a couple of comments that I just loved that have not been addressed yet.
Okay.
In that conversation between Wayne and Marie Fred when they're sitting at Modine's and she says, you sure sleuthed that out. And he said, "Bless you for trying on sleuth." Like that was just so. The way he looked at her is the way that you look at me sometimes when I say something completely ridiculous, and I'm like, I know that feeling right there.
my thing with that, I think sleuth is a French word. So
it was sleuthed. Like the ed at the end, she like made it sleuthed, and he was like, "Good try on sleuthed." So,
really hits that R on partner.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other part that I just really love that nobody has mentioned is when Wayne and Derry are talking about, throwing so much hip, and they're like looking around, making sure nobody's paying attention, like looking up in the air, looking down at the ground. I'm like, fuck, I love these people.
I had to cut out a lot of that.
Because they were looking
pauses.
up. Like that part of the episode is probably one of my favorites, just because it's so comical and so like you can see them doing that in the stage show.
Oh yeah,
like that is a stage show thing right there, and I'm so excited to see their stage show.
Now, I wanted to ask, have you guys been to the stage show yet?
Not yet.
They're coming to the West Coast for the first time in April, and we will be there.
Yeah, we're going in March.
Nice.
I think it's March. I don't know. We already have the tickets. So.
Yeah,
it's in my calendar, and it won't come up until we get close to it, so I don't need to worry about it.
I think it's April 11th.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh yeah.
All right. You got anything else, T?
That was everything. I covered everything else.
Are we ready for a little
Fuck. Fight.
Fuck Fight Ferda? Brought to you by Big Tennis Energy Drink.
Oh, someday. It'd be better. Oh, nope, not going to spoil it. It'd be better than the energy drink that premieres in season 8.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. Same thing that I call Evan.
Yes, it is. It is the same thing you call Evan. That poor kid.
My son. He is definitely one of those.
Gotcha.
So,
well, no, he's got way more brain cells than they do. He's extremely a jock. He's very much a jock. Everything is football. But he's also really smart and wants to be a teacher, and he's got the best heart. So he's not Riley and Jonesy.
No, but he is. I mean, when it comes to being that kind of
bro, he's totally a bro. Like I have to forgive him a little bit of the broness. Yes. I do.
Yeah. I really do feel like there's room for positive bros in the world.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
Riley and Jonesy are positive bros most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
And they're learning. They're trying to learn.
Right. They they make progress. I don't think that's PC, bro.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get to Fuck Fight Ferdo, which is our version of Fuck Marry Kill, but we don't like to kill anybody. We'll fight because it's Letterkenny, and we'll Ferda because we're family. We love everybody, except when they're assholes. So let's start off like we do with Wayne.
I love the way that Wayne looks at Marie Fred in this episode. Like, he's happy.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to see Wayne happy.
It is.
So I'm going to say Ferda because Wayne don't cheat.
True.
Right. Right.
Let's say it was his birthday.
If Marie Fred invited me to join both of them, I would be all about it. But I can be a friend.
Let's refill. All right. Where you at on this one, Will?
So Wayne's a legend, right?
True.
And he's a legend for two things, both of which are on this list.
Yep.
So it really depends on the day.
Yep.
What kind of mood I'm in, because I'm gonna have a good story either way.
True.
So I'm either gonna fight Wayne or fuck him, which means I think we're friends.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're across the board, aren't
And like we say to every guest that comes on here, you can totally disagree with me because this is about, for me, this is about this particular episode, but for you, this is your shot. So you do what you want to do, boo.
Your one
you
shot,
do you, boo.
one opportunity. Mom spaghetti.
Mom
Whatever that
like
talking singer says.
Fuck, I just want to say I love Mark Forward.
Yes.
And
so much.
even though he wasn't on this episode,
Yes,
he's amazing.
He's brilliant. Let's go with Derry.
I still, even though Derry was very kind of like the romantic, I'm having so much sex with this beautiful, gorgeous person, Derry is just does not do it for me. I don't know what it is. After all this time, I think it's just like, nah, dude, you're friend. I cannot.
He's a little too much butthead.
A little too much butthead. That's actually a really good way to put it. Yeah. So Ferda.
Okay. All right.
But also, like, I'm gonna cheer him on. Like,
get it.
Fuck that model. Do it.
Yeah, hell
Do
yeah.
it. All of it.
Motorboat.
Get all up in there.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I think Derry is a delightful friend. He is exactly the kind of person that I am friends with.
Yes, same.
But that wraps it up.
Can confirm.
Yeah.
Miss Katie's.
Miss Katie's. What does Miss Katie's do in this?
Make Caesars. She
yeah.
doesn't do a lot in this
Yeah,
episode.
she makes Caesars. She talks about smoking. If you're not smoking hot, at least I'm smoking pot.
Yeah.
Which, like, I feel like I need to like
Right
take
in the
that
Twiffer.
quote. No, not the Twiffer. But
Oh, I forgot he was in it. Yeah. Okay.
just for like a second, right?
I'm glad I get to talk about Glenn. That's all.
Yes, I love Glenn.
I want to smoke a joint with Katie. Like,
Mm.
I'm gonna say Ferda because I really want to smoke a joint with Katie.
And then
Like,
see what happens.
And then see what happens. Hey, you know, I love my friends,
Mhm.
and if that love has to be expressed in other ways than just being their friend,
Hello.
anyway. But let me guess. What are you gonna say for Katie there?
Me?
Yeah.
So here's the thing about Katie. I really like Katie. I think she's great.
Yeah.
I would be friends with Katie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. I would love to smoke with Katie and just have a really good time. Here's like a lot of your guests have come on, I feel like, and have said, I'm scared of Gail, so I just want to be friends with her. I'm scared of Katie. She is playing at a level that I cannot, I can only aspire to.
She's pretty. Like,
She's clever.
manipulative. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, I just mean sex wise.
Oh.
Like she
She
I would be-
regularly had 2 boyfriends. Yes.
Yes, yeah. I am out of my class.
I'm afraid I'd break her.
I know, she's so skinny.
She's so tiny.
Like, even after losing all the weight that I've lost, I seriously look at her and go, "You're like the size of my thigh."
I couldn't. I would be afraid to spank her.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna break you somehow, kid.
Mm.
Oh, kid.
All right.
Maybe she's bendy.
Everyone knows she's bendy. Let's talk about the man, Squirrely Dan.
Oh,
You just got to see me.
No, go ahead.
No, you go right ahead. I think it's about the same answer.
Oh, I was gonna say I am the Squirrely Dan in my group.
I married the
So-
Swirly Dan in my group.
See, that's the way to do it.
And that's what I appreciate about you.
Is that what you appreciate about me?
No way, look at you, tits. I mean,
Shit.
So yeah, I'm friends with Squirrely Dan.
yeah, he's a great guy.
He's a real great guy. He's a great fucking guy.
Oh, he's a fucking great guy.
In this one, I'm definitely gonna say Ferda. But I also would be like, so tell me that story again about walking in on Derry with the semi, because that's great. What'd the dog do? Oh,
and the Half-Blood Prince.
the Half-Blood Prince.
Oh,
It's so perfect.
Oh,
seriously, the writing on this show, like, do you guys know? I haven't done a full deep dive because I kind of don't want to ruin it for myself. But like, how much of this is improv versus how much is writing?
you know, from what Tyler said, he goes, a lot of what you see is in the script.
Yeah.
So
that that they really like think about all of those individual things, like even some of the physical stuff that they do is kind of scripted by Tierney and
Kiso.
Yeah,
Oh, last name.
That's so good. Like I'm almost more jealous because now knowing that someone is writing this stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
So smart.
Exactly. I mean,
Anyway.
and it goes, and it's usually Kiso or Tierney. They do have a couple of other writers in there, and that one that we're hoping to talk to soon. But they hash it all out. It's, you know, I mean, I know for what Tyler said is that if they have ideas, that they're encouraged to bring those, and you know, and if they say yes, you know, it could be something that instead of them improving it, that they're getting the go ahead to do their take on whatever it is. So, yeah,
it's amazing to me.
Riley and Jonesy.
Using a bit of foresight, I'm gonna say Ferda.
Oh, okay.
Because this season is the season where I get a little grossed out by them.
Prophylactics.
Yes, condoms are your friend.
Oh boy, yeah. No, I didn't. Yeah, Ferda.
Ferda.
All right, Dax and Ron.
Same.
Yeah, same.
I don't know. I'd
honestly,
have to be the Texan American takedown.
Yeah. I mean, I see the appeal.
I do too. I absolutely do too.
They're both beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be completely opposed to a situation that would happen there.
Yeah.
However, again, using foresight, lots of prophylactics.
Yeah.
Which they don't necessarily seem to use a lot
Right.
of.
But
you know what, guys?
If the situation came around, yeah, you'd have to force it. Yeah. What was that, Will?
Wow. I was
the use of prophylactics.
Yes,
is what
the
I'm
use
saying.
of prophylactics.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Now that makes more sense. You know what, guys? I think you've talked me into it. I think I would absolutely take down Ronzi and Daxie, if anything, just to end this whole narrative.
Just to, just to say you did.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. So, I'm going to skip that because he didn't come until the end. So we're going to go with Glenn.
All he does is say Twiffers.
Right in the Twiffer.
Right in the Twiffer. I mean,
I want to.
Go ahead.
I want to be friends with Glenn so bad.
Oh,
He
yeah.
seems like so much fun.
I want to be his fruit fly, which I'm pretty sure is completely un-PC, but in the 90s, that's what I was always called because I always was friends with all the gay boys in school.
That's better than the one that they called that was before that.
Yeah, I was called that too, but I refused to acknowledge that one.
Gotcha.
So,
Yes, good call.
Yeah. Yeah. Glenn, he's adorable, and you could just hang out with him, and yeah.
Yeah.
We
could talk about the Church of Wayne.
What'd you think about that Wayne there?
He's pretty.
All right. And
I mean, he's got a nice butt. So.
And this episode, Marie Fred.
This episode, Marie Fred, I would fuck her.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's yeah.
She's a gorgeous woman.
Blonde
and
is
she's
not my
smart.
normal type, but she's smart. She's funny. She's quick, and she like stands her ground to like all of like Wayne's friends, basically. You know, she's like, oh yeah, no.
She she encourages Wayne on his learning French, and she doesn't make fun of him at all for it.
Nope.
And yeah.
I do love that line. Originally, my French was very bad, and now my French is bad.
Très mauvais. Now it's mauvais. All right. Bonnie McMurray.
She's a cow in this episode.
Murray.
Oh my god, I wanted to smack her. She was so rude.
Spicy.
Yeah, she was.
Now, do you think she's being that way?
Because she wants Wayne.
She wants Wayne. Also, I mean, number one, fucking McMurray hates the French.
True story.
So
yeah,
there's some kind of story there with that.
Like how because Wayne says, well, she's McMurray's sister, so she comes by it naturally. So
yeah.
I would.
She acted like a high school girl to me
totally.
in this episode. It
Yeah.
was very.
I mean, yeah.
And I usually don't really go for Bonnie McMurray just because really young,
very young,
and
so,
tiny.
Yeah. Even when she because there was the season where Wayne's like she's 20, and that's a bit young, and even since then she just looks way too young.
Yeah. At that time where she was 20, she was 18.
Yep.
Oh,
the actual actress.
She just turned 20.
That.
She just turned 21 in July this year.
Oh, well,
yeah. So
good for. I wish her continued success. But I'm good on Bonnie McMurray, to be honest.
How about Anik?
I think if all she was the dream Anik, then I'd be down for it because then she wouldn't break my heart.
Well, just this episode.
Just this episode. It's just sex appeal. So I say fuck her.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no substance to Anik in this one, other than calling out, about I'd have a Caesar later in the callback part.
She's offering a Caesar.
Yes.
Let me rewind that. I would be friends with Anik because I want to know her workout regimen.
Right?
She's got she's still got some hips on her. She's not skinny rail. I mean, she's tall.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. I want to know what her calorie intake is in a day.
Probably a lot less than mine.
Same.
She's one of those people that can eat a fucking cheeseburger and a whole batch of fries and never change.
God.
I had a friend who was 9 months pregnant and still could fit in her clothes from before, and like she just looked like she had a basketball above the. Like I was so envious of that. Like how the fuck?
Jesus.
I know, right?
How dare they? All right,
Like
so
she practically still had abs when she was pregnant. That's not a thing that should happen.
Yeah, that's no good. Did she make a pact with some dark spirit?
Right?
she went out on the dark web.
The dark web.
And speaking of the dark web, Stuart.
I remember when this episode came out and the fanfare and fervor around, oh my God, how hot Stuart is. And I was like, he looks, the eyes look a lot bigger now. And like I really like the makeover. I think that he looks fantastic. I think that Tyler Johnson is a very attractive human being.
Yes.
I actually prefer Stuart with the long hair.
Okay. All
so,
right.
but in this one with the whole makeover and he's clean and not actually supposedly not doing the drugs because he just got back from rehab.
Right.
And like I would go for a shot on that.
All right.
I would go for that one.
All right. Will.
I'm gonna have to be friends with Stuart because I feel like he'd be a weird hang, and like I know what he's packing, and I cannot go from 0 to 100. You know, there's got to be steps along the way.
Well,
so
maybe he's a bottom. You never know.
I mean, he does let. Oh no, that's future episodes.
Yeah, and based on that future episode, I'm gonna say I think he's a switch.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
I don't doubt that at all.
I can't wait for that episode.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we know Rold is. So, like with Glenn, he's definitely the top.
Oh yeah. With Dax and Ron.
Yeah.
I know you guys just want to London Bridge me.
Spit roast.
Spit roast. That's what he said.
Spit roast.
Yeah. Let's. So speaking of Rold, how are we on Rold?
So the rapping kind of like weirded me out a little bit. I will be honest, but that's just because he just is this like sweet, kind, calm little like psychotic character that I love so much, doing something that just does not fit with his character to me. However, at the end, when he's standing next to Stuart and still doing like the big eyes slurping from his cup, I'm like, I still love him. So yeah.
You're fucking Rold.
I'd fuck Rold.
Okay.
Yeah. Am I allowed to pick two?
What? Yeah.
Go for it.
I would fuck and become very good friends with Rold.
Yeah.
That's how it happens. Yep.
He's wonderful.
Let's go with now Gay.
Just this episode. I would say Ferda because she would probably be able to find me the psychedelics that might help cure my depression. But I don't think I would fuck her necessarily.
I wanna have some gay sex.
Oh, I know you do. Oh yeah, I know you do. And in other episodes, I would agree with you.
Yes.
In this particular episode, there's nothing in it that really like does anything for me.
Yeah. All right.
I have to agree.
Okay.
I have to agree. I think gay. I'm Ferda gay. Ferda.
And I think that's all I had. I said we had the gym bunnies that were in there, and then we had Jean-Claude and Jean Lance, which I'm pretty sure we'd all just want to beat the shit out of. So
yeah.
So the one that looks like John Krasinski, and the Jack Ryan.
He doesn't look. He's not unattractive. But for me, attitude is way more attractive than just the looks. So like physically, I think John Krasinski and John Ryan is quite attractive with the beard.
Yeah.
I think Jean-Claude is quite attractive physically. I absolutely would never fuck him though because he's a total piece of shit.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And those fucking shirts, man.
Right?
like I really like me some plaid, but no.
Yeah, just the check. It's just
You're
checkers.
all in plaid right
I'm
now,
all
Dean.
in plaid.
But not the same.
And it's different plaids. Yeah.
Yep. Ooh, I'm wearing plaid too. I forgot.
Yeah, you are.
Mine's red though.
So
Yours is blue. You're a degen.
Yep, I am. But I am not a douchebag de Laval.
No.
So that's everything there. So let's have any final thoughts.
I like season 6. I am ready for season 6. Let's do it.
Yes.
Yep. I also like season 6, and I fucking love Letterkenny, and I fucking love you guys. I love this show. You guys are incredible, wonderful podcasters. I support anybody who makes a genuine go at it. After being in and out of it for so many years, I know how hard it is to keep something up like this, and you guys are just absolutely killing it. So no, thank you. You a flood raises all ships, and and I don't know what it means. So
fair enough.
All right. So next week we've got our season 6, episode 2, Bush Party season with our guest Mitch Cole. I don't know who we're doing music yet. I'll probably decide that since we haven't gotten any music.
Send in some music, because if you don't, then I get to pick.
Yep. That'll be your turn to pick.
Okay.
I mean, I have picked the last 2, but
that's true.
Well, actually, everybody else picked the last 2. So
true.
That's all I've got. Well, again, thank you for joining us. Give us all your plugs again here that we like to do them at the top and the bottom, because I'm a switch as well.
Sure. Yeah. My, the podcasting stuff, you can find that at my kind of like hub, coffeefinchstudios.com. There's links to all the different podcasts, as well as any, it's like a portfolio site for me as well. I do graphic design for people. So, hey, if you need something done, hit me up.
We have a couple new projects coming up. So.
Yeah, we will definitely reach out to you.
I think we might have to stay on the call and talk turkey after we come down here. So yeah, check out coffeefinchstudios.com. I'm on Twitter at DJ Lunchbox. I don't tweet very often because Twitter is awful most of the time.
It's better than Facebook, though.
It is better than Facebook. You're not wrong there. So, yeah, I think that's it. I also want to throw out a plug for my buddy Sorg at sorgatronmedia.com. He's also a media producer. He helped me get my start in well, no, not help. He's why I started podcasting, period. And he's the co-creator of Sawtooth Willie. So check him out at sorgatronmedia.com. It's a real good time.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, well, thanks for being on. We hope to have you on again and for future season maybe, and we'll chat more about what's going on at that point in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely talk about more podcasting stuff here soon.
Totally, yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was a blast.
You're more than welcome. Tiara, you have anything?
When this episode airs, it will be the next decade. So I would like to wish everybody a happy new year and a happy new decade. And hopefully 2020 leads to much fewer tears than we had this year and much more happiness and much more Letterkenny.
Yes, much more Letterkenny. And when you're caught up with Letterkenny, watch The Expanse.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And watch out for our other projects we do once we're caught up with Letterkenny, because we have like several.
Yeah, we got a couple good ones coming up. So anyway, let's go ahead and do our outro. How about that from a little Mish?
All right, bye.
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 Thanks for joining us on this episode of How Are You Now? We'd love to have you give us a review, if you could do that, either on Apple Podcasts or iTunes or on podchaser.com. We'd like to thank our musical guests this week, Mish and Lizzie Boredom, for their music. And we'd like to thank Will Gainsborough for joining us to chat today. We will see you again next week, and we hope you have a happy new year. Take care now.
Kills, y'all can all die together. Toots on my whip, toots on my bitch. Her lips, my dick is a meat. And she finished my foot long, that bitch, she was greedy. Don't wonder if you see me again, I turn to Stevie. Whipping it up on the stove. Please don't fuck up the pot. 12 can't catch me in a whip, I just copped. And I don't price check, little bitch, I just cop. Couldn't tell you the time, my watch got too many rocks. Better pray to the guys who become my ops. Cause I'm shooting everybody on your motherfucking block. If your mama end up dying, then bitch, it's your fault. Killing these niggas, I came here for blood. Never been afraid of water, I came from the mud. I done drowned in that pussy, that shit with some scud. And I don't know a thing, so I won't say a word. I'm a real nigga, no capping. Everybody confused, trying to see what happened. Big bank take little bank shit. Well, watch a nigga like me.